Welcome, everyone, to the PW Fan, the ultimate pro wrestling podcast created by fans for the fans. You are joining us for episode 107. I'm your host, collector, barber, musician, and most importantly, a professional wrestling podcaster, Talk Wrestling, Tim Gilbert.
And I'm your host, the architect of pro wrestling podcast, Funko Pop collector, losing ass Steelers fan, Andy.
I'm also the host of No Some Wrestling Indie fan and football lover, Jeremy.
Well, Andy, you must have been very depressed about that Steelers loss because you left out Booker Andy. Booker Andy, the shirt available now on ProWrestlingTees.com. All right, everyone.
I just wanted to give you a plug.
Yeah, there you go. Right? Yeah, there
give you a reason to say it.
You served me up a plug. All right. Today we will be discussing and reviewing the happenings in the world of wrestling, including the fallout of AEW Full Gear, the upcoming War Games matches, Survivor Series predictions, and more. Of course, please stick around until the end of the show for our classic pay-per-view of the week recommendation. Before we get started, please go to youtube.com/thepwfan, where we always ask you to please subscribe, like, comment, do all those things, share with your friends. It really helps us out a lot. For all other social media, by searching at the PW Fan, we should pop right up. So other than that, about ready to move on here. If you want a t-shirt, go to ProWrestlingTees.com/the PW Fan. Booker Andy, over to you. 107, buddy. Let's go.
You know, every time you introduce yourself in the beginning, you say barber. I always want to say beefcake afterwards because Bruce the barber. But I think about it almost every time. Like
I am a beefcake
barber. I was like beefcake. So this week we had a lot of wrestling crammed in between Monday and Friday.
Yeah,
because they threw in Collision onto Friday. So Friday literally was Smackdown and Collision on at the same time, and then 10 o'clock was Rampage. This week, as Tim mentioned, there was Full Gear, an AEW pay-per-view. And so this week, our AEW reviews are going to be kind of quick because they were go-home shows. Also, there wasn't too much to talk about on Raw and SmackDown, in my opinion, because Survivor Series is next week, and they're on their way wrapping up storylines beforehand. So let's get right into it, starting with Raw. Cody Rhodes would open up the show. Before that, it would show a video recap of what happened the week before. And when Cody was out there, he said that he and Jey Uso were going to retain the tag titles before he started talking about War Games and introducing his team. So Cody and Seth Rollins would be out there along with Jey Uso and Sami Zayn. Seth and Cody had a little stare down confrontation in the ring. But the Judgment Day would then interrupt, trade some insults with one another, and I believe this would lead to a tag team match of Seth and Sami Zayn taking on Dominic and JD McDonough. And the winners of that match was Sami Zayn and Seth Rollins. Fast forward through a little bit throughout the night, we finally got what I had hoped would eventually come, and that is Damian Priest officially welcomed JD McDonough into the Judgment Day.
that's finally.
Do you believe that's the only way?
So JD's an official member. I wonder if Damian's on his way out, though. I wonder if things are.
I feel like he'd be the next one out because he has the Money in the Bank too.
He is Senior Money in the Bank.
Yeah.
But the main event, like I mentioned before, Cody Rhodes said him and Jey Uso were going to get the titles back. The main event was the Judgment Day, Finn Balor and Damian Priest against Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso for the undisputed WWE Tag Team titles. But it did not go their way. The Judgment Day ended up winning. And this is mainly due to Drew McIntyre coming out and claymoring Jey Uso.
Yep.
And then, did he stand at the top of the ramp next to Mommy? Was that at the end?
I thought so.
Did, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Mommy's always on tip. Yeah, shit.
All right,
Um,
take her easy.
so-
Go take a cold
Easy,
shower.
Andy.
it hasn't been officially said, but
We're only 5 minutes
know,
into the show.
is Drew? It hasn't been officially stated, but I think Drew is a fifth member, possibly
Yep.
of
And
Judgment
then
Day,
and then CM Punk's the other fifth member on the other team, right?
according to Tim. But it's probably Randy Orton. I think we're gonna. Jeremy, you have been saying
Oh,
the
wait,
past.
hang on. If it was Randy, it would be what was okay. I thought, what if Randy came back with his other?
voices in my head.
No, what if
The
he came
voices,
back with
bro.
the other music?
The
Um,
kill switch.
Hey,
Buried inside my life,
nothing
or
you
whatever.
could say.
Nothing you can say.
Oh,
Yeah,
for
that's
Nothing
Randy
would
Orton. Yeah.
change, would you?
And then
I like
the
that
gold
one better.
drips down,
I
and the
know,
gold
and he
drips
hated
down
that
on him,
song.
and
Yeah,
I know.
I love that song.
then
But
he
yeah,
tried
I think
the
it's
Punk song one time. This fire burns, and it didn't fit him.
I like
So
how
yeah.
he hated the like dun 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 dun, but he likes I hear voices in my head. I'm like,
Yeah.
ah,
All the lies that keep you safe.
something,
Yeah.
something. You were, yeah. I was
And a
born.
voice that is my savior. All right,
Something,
Turn into,
something loves to hate.
This is like karaoke night now.
yeah. Look, I'm saying, Jeremy, you had heard that they're gonna make the
Yeah.
announcement.
They
before
said
Survivor Series to calm
Friday
down the
before.
Chicago crowd.
Yeah, so like this Friday coming up
Is
is
it
like
gonna
when
calm
they
down
should.
or just make them more pissed and chant for CM Punk during the War Games match?
I don't know. Because then the other spot he could be in is Shinsuke. Because Shinsuke's calling someone out,
So
right?
that's that is it, people think that that's who Shinsuke's talking about because Shinsuke's been having these videos, and I should have probably talked about it on
Yeah,
or had
you
it in my
should have.
notes,
You're
but-
slacking. You're a jabroni podcast host.
I know. But he's not mentioning who he's talking about, and Michael Cole's like, "Who's he talking about?" And I don't know. People are thinking that he's like Shinsuke in his videos always says that something along the lines of like, "I'll just have to wait for you," like,
Yeah.
and so I don't know. Like, does he come back to Survivor Series? Who says he can't come back? Like Rumble. I know
Yeah.
Tim will give up until Rumble time. If it's not Survivor Series,
I don't
it's gonna
know.
be like,
Maybe
"Screw
WrestleMania.
Rumble."
Never give up.
Yeah, I was gonna say WrestleMania. We could see him
Dude,
too.
I'm like John.
Surprise.
I'm like John Cena. Never give up. I'm like Brokeback Mountain. I can't quit you. I'm waiting for my man.
Let's see him, Punk.
Dude, beautiful movie. I fucking love that movie.
It's
I told you, I just saw it for the first time like a few months ago.
And that's really funny because it came out like early 2000s.
Yeah, but everybody talked shit back then. But now that everybody's not an asshole anymore, people watch it. They're like, "Wow, this is a
Yeah.
fucking wow, this is a great
But
movie."
always-
And it's like,
I
yeah,
always heard it was a great movie. I just
Yeah.
never got around to it. And then I went on a movie kick and watched a bunch of stuff, and that was on the list. And then I bought it. Anyway,
Brokeback Mountain plug sponsor the PW sponsor the PW.
nowadays
Years later, can you sponsor us?
they'll remake it nowadays and make it about women.
Yeah, those. Yeah.
That's what, and it'll be made by Disney, and that's what they do. Anyway,
Oh my god.
as South Park says, put a chicken in, make it lame. So you make it better. I'm giving the Pandaverse, the South Park Pandaverse, a new a plug. So yeah, I think the fifth member on the babyface side is going to be Randy Orton, though. It's confusing, like, because like the women's War Games match doesn't have a fifth member.
Yeah, but if they do add Drew sometime this week to the other team, then it has to be Randy or Punk.
Has to.
But Randy.
It's gonna be Randy.
It's gonna be Randy.
Sorry, Tim.
Did you see WWE uploaded a like they do those matches, the full length matches, and they uploaded one. It was like Cody Rhodes versus Randy Orton, but then people noticed that CM Punk was on commentary.
But they also uploaded like Randy Orton, and then it was taken down, and they were like, "You never know when he'll show up." It
Yeah.
was just like,
Yeah.
what are you doing?
Again, like I said last week, why are you doing this? What did we?
No, I'm talking about never know when he'll show up for Randy Orton.
Well,
And they took it down.
yeah, but they're
Everyone.
subtly doing everything.
Let's get into Dynamite. There was a Hangman and Swerve Strickland face to face.
I know we're gonna get there later. Fucking gross.
Best match on the card.
Best match on the card.
Gross, but yes, it was. But there was one spot where I was like, no. We'll get there.
I loved it.
I know what spot you're talking about because that was Corey's least favorite spot, probably too. He's
Yeah,
like, vomit.
Was it in the beginning?
No.
It has to do with tasting.
Yeah, that's like
Tasting,
towards
so-
the beginning when
Oh.
first started bleeding.
Okay.
I love that spot.
Sick. You're sicko.
You're sick, man.
Hangman Swerve Strickland had a face-to-face promo. It was a verbal barrage from Paige, and he ended up beating down Prince Nana since him and Swerve weren't allowed to touch each other.
Swerve didn't say anything.
Nothing.
No,
Yeah,
he was just Hangman.
pretty much the whole time. Oh yeah,
Because
Swerve
Hangman-
just threatened him.
Yeah, Hangman's like, I'm gonna steal Prince Nana's weed afterwards, and
Oh
then
yeah, and then
he was like, "What?"
Nana's like, no, not.
he started doing his
So
dance.
you said Paige would say you were dumber than you were 2 years ago when your dumbass got fired, talking about getting fired from WWE.
Yeah,
He said, a full year, I'm your judge, I'm your jury, and I'm your executioner. And then, shortly after, he would lay out Prince Nana.
that was
Prince
it was a
Nano.
good promo. Like this
Nana,
Hangman,
nana,
this
nana.
sort of Hangman. What?
Nana, 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 nana,
Oh.
nana, nana.
This sort of Hangman, I actually like when he's actually not being like I don't know, too much of a baby face, I guess.
A jabroni.
Yeah.
Sky Blue defeated Red Velvet to secure her spot in the women's triple threat at Full Gear. The Young Bucks, Kenny and Jericho had a backstage segment which ended
Whoa,
up
hang
in
on,
a
wait, whoa! You're just
kinda
like
brawl.
you're skipping. Hang on a second. My goodness, you got your foot on the gas. You got you're pressing through hard. Hang on. What are we feeling about the AEW women's division right now?
I feel like they kind of had to rebuild it almost because I
Yeah.
thought people were going to work out
Baker.
and didn't. Like Saraya. But I
Where's
feel like they're
Britt?
getting there. I feel like they're
There's
getting
a
there with
reason.
You lost
There-
Jade. Britt's gone for some reason.
There's
Yeah.
a reason why I asked you. Why I asked you this. Fan of the show, friend.
like didn't mark that. Fan of the show leaves. Yeah. You think he's coming back?
I don't know. His McDonald's internet.
It is.
I had to rub his shoulders. I had
What?
to rub his shoulders yesterday to get him to pay attention.
Tim. All right.
I said, rub your shoulders for the death match. Just pay attention.
There's a reason why I asked you about the AEW women's division.
Fan of the show, you said.
Fan of the show.
Fan of the show, friend of the show, Glenn
Mhm.
Blessing has a theory that we've never thought of. Glenn's theory is that Britt Baker is the devil.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that think this. We've
But
just
how does
never
that
talked about it.
work?
But I don't know why.
I don't know.
But wait, what does that have to do with the women's division lately?
She's a woman.
You mean we waited this
You said
entire time?
the division is the way it is. You're like, here's the devil. I was like, what does that have to do with it?
The top 5 of what you're going to say.
She's a woman. Boom.
That has nothing to do with the women's division just because she's a woman.
She's a woman on top
I
of
have
the
a
division.
theory, but I don't know what that has to do with why the women's division is the way it is.
Like, why wouldn't she be attacking the women's then? The women too.
I don't know why she's not attacking the women's.
So we're waiting for this theory.
This is the worst segment we've ever done on this show.
And the fact that it took us like 30 minutes to do this.
It's staying in. I want clips. I want clips of everything.
I think my theory was better.
Yeah, it was. Anything is better than that.
It made more sense.
It made actual sense.
Like I was saying, the Young Bucks, Kenny and
Oh,
Jericho
God, the Young Bucks.
had a backstage segment that ended up in a fight.
Oh.
Then we also had the Like a Dragon street fight. Kenny Omega, Chris Jericho, Kota Ibushi, and Paul White against Brian Cage, who filled in for Sammy Guevara, Kyle Fletcher, Powerhouse Hobbs, and Takeshita. Paul White taken out in right at the beginning by being thrown
Yeah.
onto a car. Never saw it. It was just a waste.
Didn't need him there.
The match to me was what it was. It's them
It was a
promoting a video
promo match.
game,
A promotion
basically
match.
anarchy in the arena.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't care for it, but
Yeah.
Omega, Jericho, White, and Ibushi would end up winning.
Yeah. It didn't really mean anything either, too.
And then the main event of the show wasn't a match. It was MJF making his way to the ring. Apologized to the Acclaim and Adam Cole for them getting caught up in his business. He talked about his upcoming match with Jay White. Jay White would interrupt, insisted MJF was the devil, and claimed the champ was no hero. But we all know who the real devil is, and that's Britt Baker. Apparently. She's the devil, and that's why the women's division is what it is right now.
Amazing. I rest my case.
It's not a bad overall theory, first of all. Just for Glenn, it's not a bad overall theory. But
Yeah,
the
we
fact
need to
that
make
Tim
sure
phrased it.
we need to make sure that we know that Glenn doesn't think that his idea like is
It was how you
weird.
phrased it. You know why the women's division is this way? It made no sense.
Because Britt Baker is the devil.
The devil hasn't done anything to the
His theory, Glenn's theory, has to do with Britt Baker being the devil, not for why the division is the way it is.
That's
right? Let's clear that up.
why the division is the way it is.
Which is what, Tim?
He doesn't know.
Women.
It is the way that it is.
Because of the way.
It's
It's just the
women.
way it is. Where she goes, boys. All right. So that's Dynamite. Didn't care
There
for
wasn't
it.
really much on it.
SmackDown, Damage Control would open up the show this week. And they would officially, I believe, challenge the babyfaces to War Games. So now that's official.
Yeah.
And the story throughout the night was that Charlotte, Shotzi, and Bianca had to find a fourth partner, and Damage Control would be beating up everyone backstage, basically, right? If I'm
Yeah.
not mistaken.
That's the story throughout, yeah.
So yeah, we'll get to that later, because as Tim mentioned in the beginning, we're going to be talking about the War Games matches. But
Yeah.
the Street Profits earned a #1 contender spot for the WWE Undisputed Tag Team titles against the Judgment Day by defeating the Brawling Brutes and Pretty Deadly in a triple threat tag team match. This was a really good match, actually.
Yeah.
Speaking of really good matches, Dragon Lee continues to be put in like the best matches on the show, just
Yeah.
no story told. It's nice that they brought in Axiom from NXT. Axiom's very good. He used to go by a different name on NXT UK, and then they brought him over to NXT in America, which he now goes by Axiom. But in NXT UK, he was known as A and then -Kid.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at Wikipedia right now. On the Indies, he was known as Anonymous Kid. Also, maybe that's what A Kid was short for.
It's kind of a cool name.
He was known as El Nino Anonimo. So, keeping up with the theme. But in NXT, he goes by Axiom, and this match was, if you want a kind of crazy, high-flying match with no story to it, just two performers, this is the way to go. But I like the way that they're doing this. There was a nice little video package for him, and it helps newcomers, get to know these people. But I think people are coming around to Dragon Lee. He's crushing it every week.
Yeah, he gets time, which is really good. Like, he actually gets a good length of each match that he's on every week, which I think is always a good way to get someone over, especially if they're this good in the ring like he is.
Yeah, Dragon Lee's super good. I've said it before. He's Rush's brother, and during the pay-per-view this week, I was watching Rush. I said to Tim, I said his body and everything is exactly like Dragon Lee, just minus the mask. Like, they almost look the exact same thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, Dragon Lee week after week has been put in matches that is impressing the crowd and impressing people at home. Let's talk about this Santos Escobar segment. All right, first of all, I'm going to say can we all be over the what chance? It's been
I hate those.
It's been 20 years.
It's been almost
Let it go.
I'm over it. It's ruining segments. I get booing for Dom and to become a thing now, but I at home want to hear what these people have to say. And when you're so loud in your boos, do it for a little bit, but then keep.
Yeah. The what chants are annoying me so much. Every time when there's someone out there doing it, I'm like, ugh, it takes away from it.
So I'll say this: Santos Escobar, in my opinion, is better as a heel. He was in NXT.
Oh yeah.
He didn't let the crowd get to him, which was evident. He just, he was believable in what he was saying. And so Ray, after his attack, they said we're not going to see him for a couple months. And they said he had leg surgery. Yeah.
Oh yeah, he had his 13th knee surgery, I think it was.
So he really did have surgery, and they just took him out with Santos Escobar.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, since he's gonna be out a couple months, maybe we get the match at Mania, Ray and Santos. I don't know.
I think so. Yeah.
Or we also the fact versus Ray, mask versus career.
Also, the fact that Ray has his family and also friends over I don't know how many years keep betraying him, and I'm starting to think it's Ray's fault.
It's a Ray problem.
Yeah,
Ray's the one to blame.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of, Santos Escobar said everything he said about you down to a T. Dominic was right.
Yeah.
And this was a terrible line, but Santos Escobar says that he hoped Mysterio gets an infection from the surgery and has his legs amputated.
That's
such a specific thing.
That's very out of pocket.
Yeah.
It was definitely a choice, just not a good one, man.
Yeah.
It wasn't.
Then they have to amputate your legs.
Yeah. The fact that he was like, I hope you get an infection, and then they have to do all this, and then your leg comes off. Like,
yeah. Paul Heyman would cut a promo on Solo Sikoa destroying John Cena, and we didn't mention this last week. Strike is over. Cena's back. I think next time he comes back will probably be his retirement run, whatever it is.
Yeah, I think so.
But Cena's gone again.
Yeah.
And it just happened to end right when the pay-per-view happened at Crown Jewel.
Yeah.
The strike happened to end. So Paul Heyman cut a promo about Solo. LA Knight would interrupt, and he reiterated that the only reason Roman Reigns is still champion is because of the Bloodline's involvement. And then he ended up having a match with Jimmy Uso, which he would end up defeating him. And then, lastly, the Women's War Games segment to wrap up SmackDown. Damage Control was in the ring, and Charlotte, Shotzi, and Bianca came out, who had been looking for a partner all night. And it seems like Charlotte Flair made a call because when the three women were standing in the ring, the fourth member got revealed to be Becky Lynch. So,
Yeah.
like I said, the Women's War Games is a 4-on-4. Maybe it would have been 5-on-5 if Dakota Kai was clear. Then they would have all the Damage Control.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. That is a good point.
But I think now I have a theory.
Okay.
You have a theory?
Is this why
about
the women in NXT, or sorry, the women in
The women in
WWE?
Damage,
Oh, no, not this again.
Damage Control. No, we might have talked about this before, actually. That I think they're going to kick Bailey out at some point.
Yeah.
Maybe at War
It
Games.
feels like it's going to happen soon.
And then the Kabuki Warriors take over.
Yeah.
I wanted to say while Tim was drinking. It's an awful name.
You couldn't stop me while I was drinking
Well, we
DP.
were talking about awful warrior or awful foreign gimmicks, and then like the next day I'm watching, and I just see Xia Li on NXT with like her like Chinese weapons, and
I saw that on
like,
Twitter, and I was like,
dude, it's just, come on.
I know. I was like, Shawn Michaels, come on.
Come on,
He's like-
Shawn.
And then he's like, "Isn't it great? It's good shit." And then you're like, "You kind of sound like Vince." And he's
The
like,
next
"Ah,
Vince."
come on."
That's why he was turned into Vince. That's why he lost the hair.
So let's quickly get through Collision and Rampage, and then we can get on to the predictions and the pay-per-view itself. Collision, Christian Cage would open up the show, and I know he made a comment about Ric Flair again. Ric Flair dying, I think. He did talk about how Sting's retiring, and then what is Darby gonna do when Sting is gone? He said, "What are you gonna do when that father figure's gone?" He said, "You know who you can come to."
I don't want this run for Christian to end anytime soon.
Dude, we'll talk about his entrance because that was that was great.
Yeah,
but he gave a promo to hype up the Trios tag team match at Full Gear. I want to see if, Oh, it was funny. I forgot. Christian making Tony Schiavone come back to hold the mic for him.
Yeah, right.
And then the only thing really talk about Collision is that Trent Beretta earned a title shot for the TNT Championship, which led directly into Rampage, which Christian Cage would open up the show by defeating Trent Beretta.
Yeah.
And then Rampage ended with an interview with Jay White. MJF would attack in it was backstage, and it would go all the way to the ring, where Bullet Club Gold would come out, but Samoa Joe would make the save. And MJF would shake his hand to make the deal to tag with him at the 0 hour, but now MJF has to give Samoa Joe a title shot if he wins his main event at Full Gear. So, before we get into Full Gear, because that's how I want to end the show, because that's how I wrote it.
Right.
Okay.
All
right. You okay, pal?
No, I said it. Because that's how I fucking wrote it.
We're not arguing with you.
You're like,
I
"No,
don't
that's
hear.
actually a pretty good idea."
I don't hear anybody going against it.
Yeah, I know.
All right. So Survivor Series War Games predictions. Let's go through this. Intercontinental Champion Gunther versus The Miz.
I mean, Gunther. Like, I think Gunther actually said that he's tired or outgrown
He's outgrown the Intercontinental Championship.
Yeah. So I think he wins this, but then hopefully at some point moves on from it.
He pulls the Samoa Joe and just drops in. It's like, I got my sights set on
Yeah.
the bigger prize.
Seth.
All right, Tim, you're saying Gunther too?
Oh, hell yeah.
Rhea Ripley versus Zoe Stark for the Women's World Championship. Going with Mommy.
I mean, she's not going to lose anytime soon.
Hey, do you guys think we get Rhea versus Becky Lynch at Mania?
That'd be sick.
hope so.
God, I
It's
can't
never
wait
happened.
if we get to see it in person.
That match has never happened, but they've been teasing at it with looks and stare
God.
downs over the past couple of months.
I hope it's a bra and panties match. I'm just kidding. Cut that
All right,
out.
so.
Just kidding. Cut that out.
Hope it's mud wrestling. Like to see Mommy dirty. Dirty Dom, dirty Dom, dirty Mommy.
All right.
Men's War Games. Cody Rhodes, Jey Uso, Sami Zayn, and Seth Rollins, and CM Punk versus Damian Priest, Finn Balor, Dominic Mysterio, JD McDonough, and probably Drew McIntyre. No. Replace
I'm
CM
gonna
Punk
go
with Randy Orton.
I'm going to go with Randy Orton's team.
You going baby faces? I'm going baby
Yeah.
faces.
Going CM Punk's team.
All right. All right. We just talked about the women for the Women's War Games. I don't want to name them all again. Babyface team or heel team?
I mean, heel team, but I think that starts a lot more with the Becky or the Bailey stuff about her being
Does
out.
heel team lose, and that's why they kick out Bailey?
I think they win, and then they're like, we don't need
for
you.
change, and losing would be that catalyst.
Also, they win, they'll be like, we don't actually need you because maybe she gets eliminated or not eliminated.
And then the Kabuki Warriors destroy Bailey.
Uh,
The Pirate Princess Kairi Sane herself. And then, I mean, I found that this was on the list. I guess it's happening, but Carlito versus Santos Escobar.
oh yeah, I mean, it's,
Probably Santos.
Yeah, Santos. He can't lose right now.
Tim, did you answer Women's War Games, baby faces or heels?
Oh, heels. Sorry. I was looking up something for the
And
end
then
of the show.
Santos or spit in your face to people who don't want to be cool.
I
If
spit
it
in
was
the
that Carlito, I would go with that Carlito.
Yeah, not
spit in
new
the
Carlito.
face. People who don't.
I
want to
don't. I don't know if that's what he said. I don't know if he ever said that.
be spit in your fucking face.
All right, Andy.
Why is Andy so angry
Aggressive.
tonight? Andy's on.
I know.
I'm in
Andy's on-
pain. My
That's right, his
fucking
mouth is in
face,
pain.
My mouth, man. These
Oh, yeah, I
wisdom
forgot.
teeth coming in at age 31 almost.
31.
So wisdom teeth making some crowded room. All right, let's get into Full Gear. I'm only going to talk about from the 0 hour, the ROH World Tag Team Championship, MJF and Samoa Joe versus the Guns. This was like a 10-minute match. Winners was MJF and Samoa Joe. What you think, Jeremy? Because you saw
I
more
thought it
of
was a
it,
good match.
I think.
Samoa Joe, I feel like, I don't know, he's like on fire right now in terms of like where he's at
Well,
in the
put him
card.
out.
I mean, huh? Oh my god. All right. And the nope spot gets me every single time. Like in this
Moves
one,
out
he
of
did
the
it
way.
with like drop kick. Yeah, like I think Colton was trying to do a drop kick. He just like walked away.
Well, before the match ended, Adam Cole's music would hit, and Adam Cole would crutch his way down. Or no,
Yeah,
no.
because he distracted them.
Okay, but then a beatdown would ensue that Adam Cole was
Afterwards.
helpless for.
And Adam Cole just
And
stood there.
okay, this is gonna be the story of the night, and I'm gonna talk about it later. But they took out MJF. They took out his leg, and MJF
Yeah,
had to be
chairs.
taken out on a stretcher to an ambulance to the hospital. And after the first match, we'll say what is the plan.
Well,
but
can I say, like, what are you doing, Tim? WCW, what, an NTC4 game?
Is that Captain Insano and Hulk Hogan?
I was just showing a little advertising for the fans at home to give. Sometimes they don't want to see my ugly mug just sitting here staring at the screen. I'm like, hey, look at this fucking sick retro video game. Here's something to look at for a second.
That is Captain Insano.
Captain Insano.
I heard he shows no mercy.
He doesn't.
Well, I was gonna say how I was feeling at this point when they started doing this angle. I thought they were gonna have some twist or whatever with the devil and everything happening in the main event, and so I was actually kind of like,
were you disappointed?
yeah. Well, at this point, I was like very interested, and I was like, I wonder where this is gonna go. But it quickly went away.
And it went away after this first match when they announced what was going to happen. But so the first opening match, Sting, Darby Allin, and Adam Copeland versus Christian Cage, Luchasaurus, and Nick Wayne. All right, first of all, Christian Cage's entrance. The stage was filled with kids singing his song, singing their father's
singing
song.
Singing off key and not knowing how the melody of the song went.
But Christian Cage is their father, and he had a new entrance video.
They were like, they're like, what part's next?
But his new video starts. It says patriarchy, and then after the countdown, and it has like selfless, like dead, like a bunch of stuff. But then Edge, Sting, and Darby had a combined entrance. That was pretty cool. They're all pointing bats, and then Edge's music hits.
They all touch tips.
They all touch tips. They all touch tips.
All rub their tips together.
And Edge was wearing face paint. Never seen him. I really liked Edge's black and white gear, and everyone was wearing like a trench coat.
His gear, and also I actually like Edge's face paint a lot.
During this match, you want to talk about that Darby spot
that he basically died from?
Went to chokeslam him to the
outside apron
edge of the ring,
side of the apron.
Yeah, the hardest part of the ring.
His hip just hit it.
Bounced off like a rag doll.
Yeah, I was like, oh, like I don't know. And it's weird because like Darby would be like, he's like, people said I wouldn't make it until 30. He's like, I'm 30 now. And they're like, he's like, they keep upping the age of when he's not going to make it. I'm like, I mean, at a certain point, they're going to be right.
So for an opener,
that was pretty good.
It was all right. It was like there was nothing crazy, and the crowd was super hot at the time, which I think made it seem better than it was.
The crowd did, yeah. The thing I liked was that Adam Copeland never actually got his hands on Christian, like for the entire match.
Yeah, Tim at one point was like, "All right, this is it," and then they didn't do it. And Tim was like, "Oh, come on."
They're gonna keep making you wait.
I just want to see it.
Let me see it. Come on.
I will say, the corpse.
I was surprised.
They allowed the corpse to ref, and
probably because there's so many veterans in this
people in the ring at once. It was nice to see.
I was shocked.
Yeah. I
Copeland.
I know. I only think it was because there's so many vets in this match. They weren't gonna like mess it up.
Except for
Ric Flair. That spot with Ric Flair and Christian.
That wasn't even the spot I was going to talk about. I mean, how did you feel about that spot?
I didn't like it. I mean, because Ric Flair can't throw
the Ric Flair spot. He was just like,
yeah, it was not great.
That was like,
but what spot Tim did like is when Adam Copeland told the ref to get the fuck out of the way.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
He said, "Move." I died. He was like, "This fucking jabroni doesn't know what he's doing. Get the fuck out of the way."
So Sting, Darby Allin, and Adam Copeland would end up winning the match. After that, Jay White would come out because apparently their match was going to be second, him and MJF, and they were about to announce that Jay White is the next champ. But then Adam Cole came out and said he's going to step in for MJF in the main event.
And then I was like, yo, this is crazy. I said, we got two dudes that look exactly the same going at it in the main event. It's wild.
So after that...
Oh, well, you know, speaking of this trend, talking about Britt Baker, she was tweeting all this stuff, and she's like, so he couldn't wrestle in the Ring of Honor or tag team titles, but they're going to be like, sure, you can wrestle in the main event with a broken ankle.
Also,
she put that up.
Yeah. She was like ripping the whole time. Even like the media scrum afterwards.
Devil.
She could, yeah, because she's the devil.
He needs to shave his beard, Adam Cole. He's looking rough.
Do you think he even expected to be on TV though?
Looking RUF rough.
Thought I had
International Championship. Orange Cassidy versus John Moxley.
I thought I had a pit bull in my cheeks for a second.
Me and Tim didn't know when John Moxley got busted open. Just next thing we knew, we looked up. We were like, "When the fuck did he start bleeding?"
Wasn't it on the turnbuckle when he took off the thing?
No, seriously, we honestly have no idea when he started bleeding.
I think it was that
away at some point.
Took off the protection thing on the turnbuckle.
I looked up. He was bloody. I didn't know it was happening.
Yeah. Well, also, he already had that cut there before with a Band-Aid over it, and then Orange Cassidy took it off and bit it.
Well, Jeremy, I want you to tell me what you thought of this match.
This is long-term storytelling.
I like.
Tony Khan's like, these are the best wrestlers in the world.
I like this match because to me it felt like Orange Cassidy had to beat like a final boss.
Were you surprised by the outcome?
Kind of a little
retained.
bit.
I thought for sure Moxley was going to win to get back on track of the original plan before Mox got a concussion.
Yeah. Yeah, but it was weird. Like I don't know. I don't know where they're gonna go from there, but I did like the match overall itself.
All right, another championship match, AEW Women's World Championship, Hikaru Shida versus Toni Storm. The amount of talent in this match should have been good, and it was not. I did not like it.
I thought it was just okay.
I thought the ending was silly with her metal pan in her.
It didn't really work out as she wanted to. Because it was like slipping out.
And because her character should have won the way it's been booked.
Well, yeah, I expected her to win, but it's like, the ending, it was like the metal plate was supposed to just stick in her like pants and it kept falling out. So then like made it like really obvious.
Yeah. After that, the ladder match, AEW World Tag Team Championship ladder match, Ricky Starks and Big Bill versus the Kings of the Black Throne versus FTR, and I'm not going to butcher it this week, versus LFI.
Who's that?
Los Faction and Gobernables. Roosh and Drillistico, who I kept calling Sin Cara.
Drew,
Tim was like, wait, is that him?
I said, is that the same guy? I didn't know if he changed his name. I didn't know.
He's like, wait, there's a Holistico, there's Drillistico. He's like, there's too many Isticos.
There's too many Isticos.
Winners were Big Bill and Ricky Starks.
There's that white guy with the emo haircut who wears like lime green. He's a Holistico or something like that. I don't even know what his name is.
That's Angelico.
Angelico.
Yeah. Big Bill. Okay, first I want to say, Ricky Starks. Anytime he gets time, he crushes.
Yeah, I love him.
Ricky Starks is fantastic. He was great in this match. Yes. Brody King. They panned him at one point. Don't even remember him getting busted open, but he was covered in blood sitting down.
And Brody King worked this match like so hard.
Burger King worked the hell out of this match.
Good take.
So me and Tim were behind, and then we finally caught up. But you had texted us during this match and said how good it was. So what were your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I like usually the ladder matches when there's like so many teams like this. I always kind of like them anyways.
The fans like Roosh. I don't know when they started liking Roosh, but
he's like got a big chant. Yeah, but I thought Brody King like carried a lot of this match. Like that spot with I forgot who he basically powerbomb on the ladder. But like when he like balanced himself walking on the ladder when he was carrying the guy up on his shoulders, that was kind of crazy. It was that wasn't even like a powerbomb. That was almost like a pile driver. But yeah, I thought it was a really good match. There's a lot of action and a lot of could be scary falls, but I don't think anyone really got hurt.
Lots of ladders.
I guess yeah, tall ladders too.
Yeah, at one point I remember there was 2 tall ladders on the side of one small ladder.
Yeah,
Like, oh, someone's gonna get hurt.
but I was surprised that Big Bill and Ricky Starks won. I guess like the only other team that I thought was going to win was House of Black. But
Well, the whole reason that it was a ladder match decided by Ricky Starks and Big Bill is because Ricky Starks said Big Bill's real tall, so it's not that long of a climb. I was like, logical. There's logic in this match and decision. Unlike something later.
No wonder Andy's
I do like to see King's
Andy's source of contention
hot.
and he's hot about the main event. That's where all this is coming from.
Yeah, that's why you're so aggressive tonight.
Before we get to that, AEW TBS Championship, Chris Statlander versus Julia Hart versus Sky Blue. Julia Hart and Sky Blue would team up at one point to take out like Chris Statlander. This was the second, and there was only 2 women's matches on the show. This was only the second one. I enjoyed this much better than Hikaru Shida and Toni Storm.
Yeah.
Just like Toni Storm, though, I thought Julia Hart's character, it was time for her to win the title, which she did.
Yeah, I thought it was time before this, but I realized that I think she got time off because she got married and went on a honeymoon and all that. So then they had her.
And
I
I'm
guess win it this
surprised
time.
Chris Statlander took the pin.
Yeah, me too. I guess. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, because I guess Sky Blue.
But that sets up
I
a
feel like
rematch, though, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does, and also I feel like Sky Blue is going to join her at some point.
Sky Blue.
Yeah.
And the bakery.
Well, I like
open.
Julia Hart's theme song though.
What? I said the bakery's now open.
Oh my god.
Julia Hart. Yeah, me and Tim were talking about Julia Hart's theme song. I think
Her
we talked
theme
about
song,
it before,
yeah.
though.
That's an easy one to like sing along with too.
Tim's gonna drop some music knowledge real quick. Go for it. I know you're shaking back there, wanting to drop it.
Hey, the drummer of God's Hate, singer of Twitching Tongues, bassist of Dead Body, Mr. Colin. I wish I could remember his last name.
Mr. Colin.
All right, say this one more time. 3, 2, 1. Drummer of God's Hate, vocalist of Twitching Tongues, bassist of Dead Body, Mr. Colin Young wrote Julia Hart's theme song. He wrote Malachi's theme song. He's in a band with Brody King. So, and
He did not write Malachi's theme song.
Yes, he did.
I'm in Raw. Unless Malachi changed it. Are you talking about Alistair?
No.
He had to have changed it then. It was Amin Ra. Unless you mean the House of Black theme song.
Sorry, the House of Black theme song is what I mean.
Okay. Whew. I was like, because I listen to Amin Ra all the time. So I'm like, I'm not going crazy.
House of Black.
Yes, there's too many songs. Yeah, okay. So he only helped write Julia Hart's song? Or did he write the whole
He
thing?
did write Julia Hart's song.
Oh, okay.
That's pretty cool. That's a good song.
Isn't there a girl singer? I wonder who the girl singer is.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Look it up.
But yes, Tim. Tim is the music guy for this pod, especially that kind of music.
Yeah.
And that's Twitch and Tongues have been his jam, so it's fresh. It's fresh for Tim at the moment.
Twitching fucking tongues.
All right.
After this match, though, it was revealed AEW's newest signee, which is Will Ospreay, He came out and said "bruv" a bunch of times throughout his
Pipe
promo.
down, bro.
And he was saying that before he starts being around all the time, he wants to finish up some things with New Japan. But this is a big
That's
get
nice.
for AEW. There was a lot of
Yeah.
companies, I'm sure, trying to get him. One of them including WWE.
Yeah.
And
I think they did say that's kind of why they made it like such a big deal, is because WWE was trying to get him as well. So like, look, we got him.
Tony
instead.
Khan likes to rub things in people's faces.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's talk about my opinion match of the night.
Match of the night.
This is
Match
very
of
this
the
you'll never
night.
hear me or Tim say this
I know.
because it was a Texas Death Match. Hangman Adam Page versus Swerve Strickland. Now, I will
I
say
Good
loved
match
it.
of the year.
it started. The reason why I liked
Whoa,
it is 'cause
take
it
her
started-
easy, Jeremy.
The reason why I can only speak for myself. The reason why I liked it, I didn't like it at first, but it started. So it started as a death match, and then ended as a very good hardcore match,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
So like reason I liked it so much is because it made sense in terms of having this match, because Swerve did something like go to Adam Page's home and like invade his home and like his kid and all that. So like I was like, yeah, it makes sense that he's
invade
this
his
angry.
kid.
Huh?
You said invade his home and his kid.
Well, he didn't not even like that. You know,
my
the
God.
baby that he had.
Invade his home and his kid.
So it makes sense that he was this angry and wanted to do all this stuff to him.
Well, let's talk about how angry it was. The first spots were him following Swerve around and stapling his body. Me and Tim were watching there like, oh my God.
Yeah.
It was
In his
rough.
chest too.
So what spot did you guys not like? Same one that I didn't? When Hangman
I liked
Page
it.
drank Swerve's blood?
I mean, I kind of liked it.
He was under his body drinking it. You liked it, Tim. How about you?
I did not like this part. It was gross.
Did not like. Pass.
I mean,
I'm
to
trying-
me, it's like if you're gonna take it to that point of being that crazy, I'm like, let's just do it then.
You want to get crazy? Let's get crazy. Swerve would bust open Hangman Page at least one time with a pile driver onto the barricade, if I'm not mistaken.
Power drive. He went on the barricade, but on that cinder block.
Cinder block before the barricade.
Yeah, which that cinder block spot, I guess, like it looked good, but then I guess it was a lot worse because you see his back of his head got cut open,
Yeah.
and Taz even on commentary was like, "You can see it's thick blood coming out." I was like,
Thick
"All right."
Swerve, we missed the part where Swerve poured a water bottle on him, and me and Tim
Ugh.
looked up, and we were like, "Why is it rushing down his face?" And then we rewound. We were
Yeah.
like, "Okay, he poured water on himself."
It made it look worse, and also like when they did the punches afterwards, they're like the commentary team was like, "Blood's getting on here." I don't know if you saw in like the back, it was like Nigel was holding papers over his head to like cover himself from the blood splat. Yeah,
So lots of barbed wire. What I thought he
So
was
much
grabbing
barbed
at one point was tacks. It was not. It was glass, and it looked like real glass.
it looked like just bottled glass that was broken.
Yeah, because the way that it cut up the back of Hangman,
Yeah,
definitely made
Yeah,
it
that
seem
was
like real
rough.
glass. The barbed wire at one point got like caught in Swerve's lip. He choked Hangman with
Oh, no,
the
with
chain.
the spot with like Hangman on the turnbuckle, and Swerve hits him in the back with the chair with the barbed wire, and there's a loose piece, and it gets wrapped around Hangman's
Yeah.
face.
Oh, that one.
When he pulls back on it.
Ah,
Dude. So yeah, I mean, this match was crazy. It was supposed to feel revengey, and it did.
Yeah.
I was surprised Swerve won again. I thought for
Yeah, me
sure
too.
they were gonna have a third match. But
Yeah.
so what I noticed as it was going, I was like, so they're not pinning. It had to be like a down for the count.
Yeah,
kind
it
of
was
thing,
like
which
last
is
man standing
different.
sort of thing.
Yeah, which is different for that. But
The
this match was the craziest of the night, and I'm
Yeah.
usually not into it, but I felt like for once there was a story being told between these two guys based off.
Yeah, that made it worth like this match happening
Yeah.
too. And then
Um,
Swerve hung Hangman at the end to
yeah,
win.
to win.
The only thing I didn't like was Brian Cage coming in. I hated that part.
Yeah, and then he put him through a table, so I was like, thank God.
Yeah.
Nice cool down match.
Yeah, it was.
Nice cool down match. No, I mean after this, but it normally wouldn't be. But after that, so Kenny Omega and Chris Jericho, the Golden Jets versus the Young Bucks. Winners were Kenny Omega and Chris Jericho, and the Bucks afterwards threw a temper tantrum around the ring, destroying everything and flipping out. I think we have a character change for the Bucks coming ahead.
There's
on the match.
Well, the match was. I mean, it was okay.
It was okay. I mean,
I didn't really.
So I don't
care.
think. Sometimes you're blinded by the match before it being so crazy that you're just like, because the crowd even was like, they were kind of died. They died a little bit after the last match.
Yeah, which made sense, and I think I don't know. This match didn't have other than like the title shot at stake, which now Kenny Omega and Chris Jericho get.
Yeah.
Other than that, I didn't really care about it anyways. But
yeah. I was on paying attention to this match because I just didn't.
The Young Bucks are apparently taking a break from like TV.
Okay.
They need it.
They said for like they didn't list reasons.
They just need to.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
I'm sick of them.
Yeah.
They got that go.
Maybe because
they got that go away heat. They got that like.
They do. Yeah.
They're just like go away for a while. I can't miss you if you don't go away. You gotta go away for a while.
Right.
Weren't they kind of getting booed in LA, and that's like their home? Like
that's their hometown. Yeah.
All right, this main event. All right, so Adam Cole comes out.
Yes.
Meet Jay White in the ring.
Andy's already stressed.
Gonna happen. Then
He's rubbing his head.
An ambulance comes driving in, and it's MJF who hobbles out of the ambulance to the ring. So the match ends up being
which makes no sense
hurt.
because at this point they've made you think as a buying fan that who bought the pay-per-view, okay, it's Adam Cole versus
who's in a cast.
So at this point I'm very
crutches.
At this point
it's like, why even do that angle?
That's
why do it at all? Why not just have a straight up wrestling match?
Why was this part of it?
Yeah. Or if they're going to do like an injury thing, why would they don't have to make it that serious? As in, he has to go to the hospital and he has a torn muscle and all this stuff. Like, just make it that he has a hurt knee and then he tries to like wrestle. So that happens all the time.
I'm going to read what I wrote to you
good
guys
story.
in the group chat about this match.
Yeah.
All right. So this match is what I wrote to you, word for word, in the group chat. Horrendous booking of White, unnecessarily complicated show-long storyline, and we just talked about that with the injury. Illogical booking of even entertaining the idea of allowing Cole to wrestle. And MJF, who normally is a great seller, had inconsistent selling with that leg only when it mattered, which I expected better from him. Jay White should have dominated and injured MJF, and so it was terrible booking, and I thought Jay White came out worse for it.
I do agree with that.
I'm the minority in this, and people loved it.
Yeah. I think,
does
White
not seem like a quality heel after that.
Yeah.
And
they definitely
MJF
ruined Jay White.
Winning the match. Jay White couldn't put down an injured. Jay White's an former MJPW world champion, and he can't put down an injured champion.
Yeah, you call him Super Cena.
So MJF throughout the match was like he was Super Cena. He's no matter what, he's never given up through this injury. And in my opinion, if you keep booking, Tim's talked about before with like babyface MJF doesn't like it. You keep booking MJF like this, in my opinion, you're gonna get sick of him.
It's the Cena thing. Yeah, exactly how Cena was. Like that era of Cena when he was Super Cena and he would win every single time. I hated that so much. Like I didn't want to even watch
Andy,
it.
You guys
Andy
agree?
hated it.
Or disagree with me?
I mean, I agree.
I mean, I agree with you.
I agree, but my thing is, it's not too late to turn this thing around with him. They could stop doing that.
Oh well, yeah.
I
But
would
like the direction they're going in,
Jay
though,
White winning the belt,
I was fine with him winning the belt too.
and then
Mm,
no mention, no video, nothing of with the devil afterwards.
Yeah, that part was disappointing.
And
Can I
then
tell you what I
comes on
thought
the
they were gonna
media
do?
scrum. Oh yeah, go.
Sorry, I was
Yeah.
going to for like the Adam Cole part, which I was like, oh, this would be kind of cool if this happens, but I guess
I
it
was like,
obviously
maybe he
didn't.
takes off the cast and he's like, I'm
Yeah,
not really hurt.
and he's fine.
He
Yeah,
beats up MJF.
yeah, and he
Here
beats up
comes Oz the
MJF, and then
devil.
he wins the title and walks out world champion. And then he's like the devil. I was like, that would be cool, but you know,
But instead, MJF won, went to the media scrum, cried the entire time,
yeah,
and talked about how he didn't want to phone it in and how he really feels hurt right now, and he's literally crying at this and being a super baby face, and I hated every second of listening to him. The only time he wasn't crying is when he ate a pickle and said,
pickles.
"Oh, that's a good pickle," and then went back
He's
to
like,
crying.
my pickles.
I hated it.
Yeah, I like that. They need to like go back to the MJF who's like more of a like a what do you call it, tweener, where he's like still like a scumbag, like he calls himself, but like you know, he's not a total baby face like this right now.
Yeah, so look, overall, good pay-per-view. I'm excited for Survivor Series next weekend. AEW has put on
Yeah.
pretty good pay-per-views lately, consistently.
Yeah, I was thinking about that too. I was like, AEW pay per views are always really good.
Well,
At
it's like
least
this
that's what I think.
pay-per-view, you know, my complaint with AEW pay-per-view sometimes is like too
They're
many
long.
gimmick matches, and like this one didn't have what? It had the ladder match and it had the death
And-
match.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah,
And then
and
I
then
guess
just
you could
tag
say
matches.
MJF's injury thing was like gimmicked,
yeah,
but I liked it overall, and I'm excited next week to talk about War Games with you guys. So.
yeah. But yeah, I was gonna say that I think it's a good idea for AEW to have more pay per views because when they go on that stretch of like like a few months without anything, I think that's when they really go down because their weekly shows aren't as
And
good
props
right
to them,
now.
they filled up that Kia Forum.
yeah, it looked
They
good.
did
It looked good.
It looked
the
great.
hard cam angle too.
But me and Tim were talking. We're like, if you had a chance to go to an AEW show, do you really want to sit through Dynamite, or would you rather just go to the pay-per-view? And I think that's what a lot of
I
people
know.
think, though, too.
That's why. Yeah,
Yeah,
That's
y'all
why they
come
can do,
no
like-
more to bring me in.
Even even if you Andy, even if you texted me tomorrow and was like, "Dude, Dynamite tickets are $40. You want to go to the thing?" I'm like,
No Collision, but we had to sit through ROH too.
I'm like, I don't know if I
Yeah,
want to.
those are like 4-hour shows still. Yeah, it's a 4-hour show for each one of them, the weekly ones too.
I'm at the point of like, I don't even know if I would want to go to a Raw or SmackDown. I'd rather just go to a pay-per-view.
Well,
Yeah,
I
pay-per-views are-
want to.
yeah.
I want to get my money's worth, and where you're getting your money's worth for matches is on the
Yeah.
pay-per-views.
Yeah,
Going to Mania, baby.
That's we're getting the most money's worth.
That's
2
a
nights
pay-per-view
worth.
of pay-per-views.
yeah.
All right, guys, that's it. Tim, do you have a classic show of the week to take us out?
I do. So it's going to be an easy one to find. And since, it's Sting's retirement tour, we're going on with that. This is the last Nitro of all time. The very last Monday Nitro, which took place on March 26, 2001. So let me go over what happened. Opening up the show, you have Vince McMahon making an appearance on Nitro, which is very bizarre. If you grew up in that time, you would know that that's wild because Vince McMahon was competition's owner and he bought it, and he makes his big on-screen appearance.
Bought my competition.
I bought my competition. Then you have Scott Steiner against Booker T. You have Rey Mysterio Jr. and Billy Kidman against Shannon Moore and Evan Kargaris. Actually, I don't know who that is, so I guess worth checking out. Shane Helms, a.k.a. the Hurricane, versus Chavo Guerrero Jr., Sean O'Hare and Chuck Palumbo, who later went to go on to be stars in the Ruthless Aggression era. So Sean O'Hare and Chuck Palumbo against Lance Storm and Mike Awesome. Lance Storm, legend. Mike Awesome is as well, rest in peace. Sean Stasiak against Bam Bam Bigelow. Rey Mysterio and Billy Kidman against Elix Skipper and Kid Romeo. I'm not really too familiar with those two guys, but why I chose this one really was for the main event, and it's because it is Ric Flair versus Sting, the last WCW match ever took place. And I brought that up because we're on Sting's retirement tour, and Flair is currently with him. So worth checking
And
out
his
for
last match.
yeah.
I was gonna say, and his last match is gonna be against Flair. But I just remember what you were saying, Tim, when you were like, Flair's like, I'm gonna be around the whole time, and Tony Khan's like, God damn, he's the $100,000 a night.
He's like, Sting, I'm gonna be here every night with you. He's like, Jesus Christ, he's $100,000 a night.
All right, well, thank you for that show, Tim.
Oh, well, I appreciate everybody joining us for episode 107. I had a great time. And, we're getting into the holidays. We're getting into Thanksgiving, and we got another episode, I think, before Thanksgiving. Am I correct? Yeah, so one more. But I did
Before.
want to say that I am very
Yeah,
thankful.
one more.
No,
Wait.
no.
No, this is the
episode
one.
with Flair.
Okay.
This is the one.
Well,
Everyone have a happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah, then we should say we hope that our listeners have a happy Thanksgiving and enjoy the time with your family. It's very special. And if you, for whatever reason, don't have a good relationship with your family, hopefully you find some people or some friends to spend time with and be thankful for. And what I wanted to say with that is we've been doing 107 episodes of this. And I'm very thankful for all the people that listen to the show. And I did want to express my personal gratitude to Jeremy for every Monday editing the show and then posting. And then Andy throughout the whole week taking very meticulous notes and then doing, without Andy doing his run-throughs, I mean, the show really wouldn't be able to function how it does now. So I wanted to thank you,
Tim.
I wanted to thank you both very much, and I love both of you, and that's what Thanksgiving's all about.
Me and Tim don't know how to edit, so it couldn't be done without Jeremy.
Yeah.
So,
No, well,
that's for sure.
Jeremy Jeremy runs everything from the technological standpoint and posting it in the RSS feed and getting it on all the different platforms. So this show doesn't exist without the two of you. I love you both very much, and that's what Thanksgiving is about.
Love
Is
you too.
telling the people that you appreciate, that you're thankful for them. So hope you all enjoyed episode 107. We will be back post Thanksgiving, was episode 108. Go enjoy some pro wrestling. Go watch the Sting retirement tour. We'll see you next time.